Your runner-up at 10% of the vote, you have Greg Abbott for sending more migrants to New York and Chicago, but it's not even close. With 73% of the vote, your community garbage state, or I guess judicial body of the week, are the Texas courts for banning emergency abortions. Lots of fun there. I'm sure the Supreme Court will right that wrong, but thank you to all of you who voted. Thank you, Brett, for taking time out to help me along the way with one of the most fun experiences I've had on a Friday show in a long time, or on any show.
Thanks for insulting the previous shows I've been on with you, John. I appreciate it.
The second I started, I knew you were gonna say that. I had a lot of fun. I thought it was a great episode. Everyone, make him feel better. I will
You know
be
what would make it feel better is if you didn't leave me hanging like you did last time with this heart.
I didn't see that, but
Further. Did you feel that?
I felt it in my heart. That might be my breakfast though. But anyway, I'm gonna be leading the first hour of the Young Turks Power Panel coming up later on today, joined by Jackson White and Senator Nina Turner. So it should be a lot of fun. Everyone tune in there. If you don't, I suppose I will see you come Monday, our first show after January 6th. God only knows what news will be waiting for us coming out of this weekend. For now though, stay safe out there, stay sane out there, and I'll see you soon.
Welcome to Indisputable. I am Sharon Reed, filling in for the great Dr. Rashad Ritchie today. And I have to bring my A game, okay? I have to bring my A game for her. Former Senator Nina Turner, great state of Ohio, fellow professor, race, power, political economy, the fellow institute at Race, Power, Political Economy. See how it get flustered as soon as you pop up? Because I think so highly of you, and I want to do right by you, Senator. So we're going to launch right into it, but you tell people, as we're so close to this election, why the work you're doing is so important, because you can't separate that, okay? You can't separate the kind of work that is necessary with what will become the result in, this year.
Yes, Sharon, and I highly regard you as well. That's a lot of words. You know, I'm a senior fellow at the Institute on Race, Power, and Political Economy at the New School. That's a whole lot of stuff. But that part of my life, that work is important because at the Institute, we seek to come up with ideas that really can animate public policy, not just to be academic for the sake of being academic, but what are the types of policy recommendations we can give the policymakers that they can make real. One example of that is the baby bonds. The director of the Institute, the founder of this Institute, Dr. Derek Hamilton, is a stratification economist, one of the best in all of the world. And the idea of baby bonds, that every child that is born here in this country get a certain amount of money that grows as they grow. Beautiful thing to try to level the playing field. And you may remember, Sharon, and some of our viewers may remember when that was a hot topic. It was being pushed in Congress by Senator Cory Booker. That idea came from Dr. Derek Hamilton and some other academics. So that's just one example of the type of work that we do at the Institute.
Well, Dr. Derek Hamilton, you said?
Yeah.
I don't know if he's single, but I'm already in love. I don't care what he looks like or anything. He's speaking to me. He's speaking my language. I hope I'm no disrespect if there is a Mrs. or a partner, but I love it. And that's a perfect idea because we got to fix a lot of things, including the justice system. And there's all kind of offshoots of that. We all saw the viral video, made the rounds. I mean, he had incredible hops, didn't he? And the judge is okay, but the fact that he got to her is another matter. So let's give you an update now on the man who attacked the judge to, he's not going to appear in court. He's made that quite clear. Here's the first incident to remind you as if you need it. Here he is again.
Trust that he is going to perform well on probation. I think he's worth this risk. The court wants to be 1948 as suggested by the DA. I would have no issue with that, but to suspend it rather than just send him to prison for any length of time. I think it makes more sense given the circumstances and his ability to do probation successfully that he given this opportunity.
I appreciate that, but I think it's time that he gets a taste of something else because I just can't with that history. In accordance with the laws of the state of Nevada, this court.
Okay, so it didn't take long. And do you see what I mean about the hops? It's like he had a springboard. If he weren't up to alleged, he's priors, but I say alleged because I don't know his full history. Criminality has been accused. The scouts would have found him. I'm telling you, incredible athlete here, using it for harm, of course. But this video, inspiring already. You all don't wait very long, do you? To come up with these parodies. I do want you to see this one. Very creative, as we said.
I appreciate that, but I think it's time he got a taste of something else. I just can't with his history. And according to the laws of the state of Nevada, this court.
Now see that there? He's not even had a second appearance in court. I think it should be video arraignment, frankly, after the first incident, but you all are already at it. You saw the prominent belly displayed on the bailiff in the parody video, holding a baby at one point, mocking how this alleged perp got to the judge. Okay, well, sentencing. So he's the perp. But did you see this? And look at that move. Okay, I don't know if that's how the original went, but look at that. Went on and on and on. Now that's just like the first one. Senator, quickly a thought from you, and then I'll give the update on the actual accused.
We going to hell, Sharon. That's all.
We're going straight. Don't take a left turn or nothing. Just going straight
Don't
down.
pass go.
No.
Don't collect $200. Just go straight to hell. That parody is off the chain. So let me just start with that. And you're right, it don't take long. Whoever did, they going to hell, we going to hell too.
Yeah, they are.
So it ain't some good company. That being said, definitely a serious issue. The judge got hurt. Some of the bailiffs got hurt. One bailiff, I think, had to get 20-something stitches. That was really some super stress. So that's Mr. Redding, 30 years old, as you said. According to reports, he's already a felon, and he was in there trying to ask for mercy.
He said he was a changed man.
Control. I mean, Brother Redding, that was the wrong time to jump the judge's bitch. When you're asking the judge for mercy, she didn't even get everything out. Right? He just kind of knew where this was going. And he just dive bombed over there. I mean, that is, as you said, Sharon, that was a lot of acrobatics. And unfortunately, he used that talent he has for wrong. He could have been using that for doing right. So while you're asking the judge for mercy, you're there because you don't have in-post control. And you you play it out in real time, that what you're asking for, you're really not deserving of.
And normally I'd say, what do they usually tell the lawyer from the control your client?
Right.
Stay back.
Didn't have time.
I'm not a fit in the, He said, please, So we'll give you the update though, Senator. According to 8 News Now, the man who attacked the Las Vegas judge as she was sentencing him Wednesday told corrections officers he had a bad day and tried to kill her. Okay. Deobra Redden, 3-time felon, was in Clark County District Court Judge Mary K. Holthus courtroom for sentencing on a charge of attempted battery with substantial bodily harm. So we know he is capable. He's very athletic, and we'll give you more after the attack in a holding cell near the courtroom. Redden reportedly told an officer, "Judge has it out for me. Judge is evil." I'm sorry you guys had to see that, document said. Other officer said Redden asked him if what he did was wrong. He asked him the question. While at CCDC, Redden allegedly spit in a corrections officer's face, police said. Again, 8 News Now with the details. Chief Judge Jerry Weiss said Holthus returned to work Thursday. Also on Thursday, Redden refused to show up for his initial appearance in the same building where the attack happened the day before. Now, I need to pause there. Who thought that was a good idea? Instead of putting him on FaceTime or something, does he really have to appear again? Come on now. That's what they wanted. He was scheduled to return to court on January 9th. Holthus was scheduled to continue the sentencing hearing on her case Monday, January 8th. The case is unrelated to the new charges related to the January 3rd incident. So he's got a full plate here. Redden faced new charges as of Thursday: coercion with force or threat of force, extortion, intimidate public officers, others with the use of force, disregard the safety of personal property, battery by prisoner, probationer, or parolee, unlawful act to excrete fluid by a prisoner in a confined area, battery on a protected person. So they may add more. I'll give you the last word. He sounds like, he summed it up as a bad day, Senator. It sounds like more is going on here. And I'm not trying to make any excuse for what Mr. Redden did. He's got to pay the price, so to speak, for his actions. You just can't go beating up people. You're already on a battery charge. But I'll give you the last word, because there are some online who are saying, look, he's frustrated. They maybe didn't like what he did and wouldn't do it themselves, but Black men can't get a fair hearing is what I'm seeing and reading online. Is that part of this or no place?
I mean, let's deal. We got to deal with that, but we also got to deal with Mr. Redden's actions. Yeah. I mean, he shouldn't have dive bombed over there. He know he was wrong. And somebody could have got seriously hurt. I mean, you got one person that was trying to keep him off the judge and got 20-something stitches, got a whole, I almost said something, got a whole gash in their head. You know, that's not fair. And if it's true that he tried to spit on somebody, now I don't know, in the hood. Yeah. Okay, that means you want to fight. you fix your mouth to spit on me, oh, you better well expect what's about to come next. Now, Mr. Redden don't have the right to do all of that. So I think, Sharon, all of these things can be true at the same time. He was frustrated, was having a bad day. You having a bad day don't give you the right to put your hands on somebody. I mean, I have bad days, Sharon. You have bad days. A whole bunch of people walking around got bad days. Imagine if everybody that was having a bad day decided to resort to violence. Now, no, brother, you can't do that. Now, there's also in some of the reading, the reports rather, that he has some mental challenges, and maybe he does need work on impulse control. So he has to answer to the consequences of his actions in court that day, and at the same time, we need to deal with a legal system that is totally patently unfair to Black people as a whole, and especially Black men. I would never say that was not the truth. That does not justify Mr. Redden's behavior.
But I couldn't agree with you more. And in this case and others, it's triggering for some to see a white woman. I don't know her record, so I'm not making anything on Judge Holthus, but it's triggering to see her. She cut him off, okay, and maybe she knew because she knew his record and had sat in judgment for the case. But that's what's triggering to some who say, "See that? It was already decided." But we wish her the best, the gashes. I was thinking to myself overnight, I don't know his family situation, but only his mama could perhaps reach him at this point. Okay. He's saying to the correction officers, I don't know, did I do something wrong? Well, you did, son, you did. It was very wrong. And so maybe if his mama, grandmama, somebody can just eyeball him, lay eyes on him, and maybe that'll bring the temperature on down. We'll move on because I feel like we keep getting these headlines, wake up calls for one side or the other. In this case, a new poll is out. President Biden losing Black voters. Third parties are picking up where he's divested, if you will. Bruce C.T. Wright of News One writing that the partisan battle for Black voters' support may not be as cut and dry this year compared to the buildup to presidential elections in recent memory. Instead of the traditional support from Black voters going to Democrats and the nominee, the unusually high number of third-party candidates this year could flip that status quo on its head. Spell doom for President Joe Biden, a major pollster said. And when you look at the array of candidates here and what's attractive to people, this is a real possibility. It's happening. It's happening, folks. Better wake up or coalesce. Put your energy behind who you feel is the best for you, your own personal platform, as well as that for the country. Here's why. 20% of Black voters, Biden's most loyal base, expect to cast their ballots on election day for neither the incumbent nor Donald Trump. The presumptive Democratic and Republican presidential nominees, respectively, according to a new poll. The findings in the USA Today Suffolk University poll are the latest evidence that fewer Black voters plan on supporting Biden's re-election efforts, giving a slight edge to Trump in the general election. News One. To be precise, the poll found that nearly 25% fewer Black voters plan to support Biden this year than they did in 2020. Wow. On the flip side, Trump has managed to maintain the 12% support among Black voters that he got in 2020, which the polling suggests could prove to be the difference in November. Although Trump hasn't grown support among Black voters, he's closed the deficit behind third-party voters come off of Biden's support among Blacks. David Pilogas, director of Suffolk Political Research Center, said about the new poll, a young voter or a person of color voting third party is a vote away from President Joe Biden. And a vote away from President Biden is a vote for Donald Trump. It's just that simple. While fewer young people are expected to vote this year compared to past presidential elections, the decline is most pronounced amongst Black voters, according to a poll released last month. At the same time, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the top polling third-party candidate, is reportedly enjoying support among Black voters in battleground states at an unprecedented level. MSNBC reported 28% of Black voters in battleground states, 28% plan to vote for Kennedy, while 50% of those same voters support Biden. 13% are expected to vote for Trump, according to recent polling. Now, that's likely at least partially because Black voters in swing states, including some that helped secure Biden's victory in 2020, have been supporting Trump at levels previously unseen by a Republican candidate. Previous poll found of those states, Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, the likely suspects. Just one of them, just one of those 6 states shows Biden beating Trump by a slim margin. On a more granular level, there are more Black voters from those states, 22% of them supporting a Republican presidential candidate than ever previously recorded. This is from the New York Times and what they are reporting as well. While polling is far from definitive, it can indicate trends like Black voters' unprecedented support for a third-party candidate this year. This is a pretty unique historical moment when more than 60% of the population says they are open to voting for a third-party or independent candidate. Tony Lyons, Kennedy's book publisher and the co-founder of a super PAC for the candidate, telling NBC News, Washington Monthly reported that professional pollsters say polling of third-party candidates cannot accurately assess a minor candidate's support, let alone their durability. So you better pay attention to that. The pollsters may be underestimating, is what I'm hearing, okay? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Beyond Black voters, an NPR PBS NewsHour Marist national poll released in October found Trump would likely emerge victorious in November when factoring in Kennedy's independent candidacy and the 16% of support he was predicted to get. Without Kennedy's candidacy, the poll shows Biden would beat Trump. Biden's pro-Israel policies amid the escalating conflict in Gaza have been another touchstone for young Black voters in particular who have demanded more from the presidential administration when it comes to protecting the Palestinian people. Third-party presidential candidates Jill Stein, Cornel West have been adamant in their condemnation of the Biden administration's aid for Israel. The stances that, according to polling, could resonate with those same young Black voters and result in their support on Election Day, which could similarly bode well for Donald Trump. Nevertheless, VP Kamala Harris has been out galvanizing young voters, especially Black ones, on behalf of the Biden administration, and the Democratic political machine has been working overtime to shore up support among all Black voters. Here's the response from the DNC. I want you to pay attention to this. DNC hasn't let up on engaging and mobilizing Black voters. Democratic National Committee Chair Jamie Harrison told The Guardian recently, this isn't something I take lightly. I know what it feels like to have our community taken for granted and only have folks show up for us when they need our vote on Election Day. Senator, no disrespect to the DNC chair, Mr. Harrison, who I like. It appears that the Democratic Party doesn't know how to engage Black voters, particularly, I think, Black men. You're not engaging them. I've had meetings with people who say you're talking at them. You're not listening to them. And this thing, I find it slightly offensive. I want to hear what you have to say about this, and then I'll give you the floor, because you're going to need the floor here. Get us all the way together. I find it offensive that they keep doing these things like if Jill Stein would just get out of the race, if Kennedy would just get out of the race, Biden wins. What happened to earning my vote? And you know what? If it's that important to you, do better by me. If you want us to save democracy, shouldn't you be required to do better by me, Senator? There it is.
Woo!
There it is.
Sister Sharon Reed, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, you did that.
Wow.
That's exactly right. If we matter, I mean, if you love me, show me.
Yeah.
You know, and then that's not happening. There's so much that we can unpack from this article. So I will start with Chairman Harrison, Sharon, since you ended there. And I know him too, like him, but give me a break on this. The Democratic Party has taken, for years, even before Jamie Harrison became the chair of the DNC, has a pattern of taking the Black vote for granted. Now, they're about to get what grandma used to say, which is I can show you better than I can tell you. Now, we've been telling you election cycle after election cycle after election cycle that you're not doing right by us. Now we're about to show you. As that article has illustrated, that black voters, either they're gonna vote for Trump or they just not gonna show up. And that young voters particularly are over it. What is happening in the Middle East is certainly animating our community, as most issues that have to do with justice or injustice animates the black community, particularly in a deeper seated way than most because of our history in this country. And younger voters get that is what is happening, and the way that the United States of America, this president, this administration is handling the slaughter at this point. At this point, 30,000 people killed. Almost 60,000 people just maimed, just hurt. Over 60% of the Gaza Strip destroyed. At this point, this is not about self-defense for Israel. And the United States of America is aiding and abetting the slaughter of innocent people. That ain't lost on young people from all walks of life. A lot of the polling will show, but especially for black people, Sharon. And when you couple that with the fact that the Democratic Party has done nothing, fill it in, SHIT, for the black community that is materially substantive, you getting what you're getting. And the fact that Trump is holding at his 12%, let us not forget that in 2016, he enjoyed 8% of the black vote. If we go back even further, when Romney was running the election cycle before, Romney gained 6%. Trump gained 8%. And now the prediction is that Trump in this 2024 election cycle is going up 12%, while President Biden is losing support. And the nail in it, the nail on the coffin here is in that same article, 60% of the population, like the larger population, Sharon Reed, the larger population, not just black people, said they opened to third parties. So don't blame Dr. Cornel West, don't blame RFK Jr., don't blame Jill Stein or Dr. Jill Stein. Look in the mirror, Democratic Party. This is on you. And black folks are finally showing we tired of carrying this party on our back. You haven't done anything for us, and we just either not gonna come out to vote or we're gonna vote for some other folks. Now, and Sherman, I am highly offended by the poster who said what most white liberal folks believe, that the black community owes the Democratic Party something, and that if they vote for a third party candidate,
I apologize. You got me bent. You got me bent on that, right? That we're supposed to be all about choice. But when voters start making different choices, now all of a sudden, black, and Sharon, they solely putting this on the black community, that if they vote for a third party candidate, that somehow that's a vote for Donald Trump. Oh, no, sir, no, ma'am. If people decide, including black people, decide to vote for a third party candidate, they voting for that third party candidate. And if Democrats don't like it, then do better. And then my last point, Sharon, you're absolutely right about black men. The Democratic Party has spent election cycle after election cycle elevating black women at the expense of black men. Now, Sharon, I'm not mad. Elevate black women. Don't get me wrong. But don't do it at the expense of black men. The Democratic Party has acted as though black men don't exist. And now all of a sudden you really need them. And they really don't vote much different from black women. Not really. Over 90% of the vote, almost damn near 100% of the vote that black people cast go to Democrats. So I want to put that in the parking lot. Yeah. The Democratic Party has continued to emasculate black men, pretend like they don't exist. And that is why they're losing black men, because black men don't see themselves in this party. Symbols on aside, and what I mean symbols, black electeds, Jamie Harrison is a black, that don't matter. You are not answering to the call and to the needs of black men, and they just saying we out. Wow. I don't want you to show up in my church. Don't come to my community center.
That's it.
I don't want to see you at the grocery store, if there is one, perhaps in certain neighborhoods. You're disrespectful, you're not honest, you're ungrateful. And just like your grandmother, my grandmother, a lot of grandmothers said, you're right. I've got to hold you accountable. I can show you better than I tell you. And if MAGA and soccer moms have a right. Hey, they're our fellow Americans. One person, one vote. They're allowed to think what they want to think. Respect them. Respect the Black vote. If someone chooses Kennedy, Dr. Stein, why would they be accused of tanking? Tanking what? Tanking what? If you do me dirty time and time again, you can't pass things that make my life not just better, possible. Hey, I want to breathe, live, work, dream. You can't even get that done, huh? I don't care how many Black people you employ in, as the senator said, this symbolic way. It's time to hold you accountable. And if democracy is at stake, hi, I'm democracy over here. And you need me to get it done. Well, then you better be a little more creative, okay? This little door knocking in church and this dialect that changes, okay? It's not gonna work for much longer, okay? Just like everybody else, Senator. Give you the last word. Can't we vote for who we
just like
wish to
everybody
vote
else.
for?
I'm gonna get the camera crew. They see me in here jumping out my seat. They done put the camera on the sister
Well,
while
yeah.
I'm back here saying hallelujah, amen. Sharon, that is exactly right. Act like it. Treat me like you need me. Instead of deploying the vice president and coming, don't come up in this Black church. Don't do it because you ain't been here all this time. You know, Sharon, this is worse than the mistress.
Yeah.
The Black community being treated like side chicks. See, at least the mistress get jury every now and then. They get a call every now and then. They get wooed every now and then. But then, oh, doggone it. I'm sorry, family show. When you are the side piece,
Yeah.
you get nothing.
No.
And the Black community, they just tired of it. They over it. Absolutely. And your point about every other demographic, it's okay for them to make different choices. Democratic Party don't say ne'er word. But when it comes to Black people, you want to put the entire, that hanging in the balance, the entire Biden-Harris administration's reelection is on the backs of Black people. No, we ain't going for it this time.
God, you gotta run. I would probably lose access to you. Well, not you, you're a real one.
You would never, Sharon Reed, never lose access to me.
I love you. Well, I'd have to give up this and I would have to be with you in an administration because I believe in you. I didn't take a vitamin today, Senator Turner, and I don't need one
Press
now.
Secretary.
Okay. Oh, I would love it.
I can see you. Sharon, I can see
asked and answered. And then I'm posing the questions to them. So I'd have to get perhaps a little on the job training. I'm representing your brand. Okay. I love you. Now we already had church up in here and I don't think you want to miss 1 second.
They wouldn't be ready for you, Sharon, but that's what you would do. They wouldn't be ready.
No, they wouldn't, but they better get ready. Okay. It's what you said. It's happening. Senator Nina Turner, our special guest host. It's always a wonderful day when she shows up here. Woo! Indisputable. I'm Sharon Reed in for Dr. Rashad Ritchie. It's on fire here today. Much more indisputable when we come right back. I just love her. I can't help it.
Now I'm going to do something very different here and read some one-star reviews of the Young Turks on Apple Podcasts. Donnie Franchise said, pretty much it's like listening to a trash compactor. Someone else said, negative, anti-American propaganda. And others said, out of context, misquotes, typical leftists who are afraid to debate, just smear. These two would be perfect for CNN or MSLSD. Well, Donnie, you might have a point, because I feel like a trash compactor right now after taking in all those garbage reviews. But thanks for listening anyway. We are, in fact, unapologetically progressive. And if you're not ready for bold commentary, then we're not the show for you. On the Young Turks, we speak up about the issues that matter, and we want to make positive change happen. And now here's why we actually do the show. Mariel Morales said, found this podcast from the True Crime Podcast, Fruit Loops, and other great progressive podcasts. I've become an instant fan of the Young Turks. Great conversation, great takes, very well composed, factual podcast, very informative. Love to hear that. Zed55 said, it's a joy to experience such awareness and intelligence from fascinating people. And Anna is gorgeous and brilliant. Apparently I'm just fascinating, but I'll take it. Paul for Progress said, news well delivered. Appreciate it. KOOK said, Democrats and Republicans are fair game for TYT. And if Anna or Cenk provide disinformation about anything, They will admit they made a mistake and correct it. We appreciate you noticing that we are honest. To people who actually listen to the substance of the show, thank you. Your listenership supports what we do. Leave a 5-star rating for the Young Turks on Apple Podcasts. Let's take the ratings back from the trolls. Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. Here at TYT, we understand this. That's why we're not gonna price gouge you or use inflation as an excuse to raise our prices. A TYT membership is not your typical subscription, but basic membership is still just $4.99. So what do you get for that price? For starters, you're getting exclusive programming, unique, exclusive designs from Shop TYT, access to a members-only chat, giveaways, emojis, and so many other amazing perks. But most importantly, you're helping to make an impact. As a TYT member, you not only help us do the shows every day, but you drive real positive change in the process. In 2017, we helped to start Justice Democrats right here on TYT. That's a group that got a dozen progressives elected into Congress. That's amazing, you did that. Your support also funds TYT's very own investigative reporting. Just recently, our reporters exposed the Fellowship Foundation and pressured lawmakers into boycotting that bigoted event. Isn't that amazing? We raised over $30,000 for Jackson, Mississippi and delivered clean water to thousands of people in need. Our petitions, polls, and community of activists help keep the corruption of Washington in check. That's the impact of what just $4.99 a month from our members can do. And we're just getting started. Positive change doesn't occur overnight, but with your contribution, we can make it happen together. Times are tough in America. The cost of living is through the roof. But mainstream media doesn't talk about the stories that actually matter to your everyday life. At TYT, we cover the stories that corporate media wouldn't dare to talk about. But we need your support to do it. You can't put a price on fighting for positive change. So become a TYT member at a price that's right for you. So that way you get to pick the price. When you go to tyt.com/join, scroll down to the name your price option, and you can become a member at a price point that makes sense for you.
I am energized. I am on fire, okay, in the best way. Because Dr. Richie is off. This is indisputable. Doc deserves a day off. But damn, if there ain't star power up in here today, keeping it all the way, okay? And you all are right there with Senator Turner, okay? Because you know she speaks the truth. Let's get you some member comments. TYT member Salty Almond 9286. Well, this is nice. We'll start with something just pleasant. Ms. Reed and Senator Turner have flawless skin. Absolutely beautiful. And I love the senator's look. You pop her up. You're always gorgeous. The workout video. I'm no longer mad that you have no back fat. I'm inspired fully. I'm inspired fully.
We should do some things together, Sharon.
Well, I got to get it together. Now, hold up, Senator. You're not about to get me in a side-by-side who wore it best. Not for a while. Okay, you're just so gracious. You're so
Thank
gracious.
you to that commenter, though. Who made
well,
that
there's
comment?
more.
Sharon,
this was Salty Almond 9286.
Thank you, Salty Almond.
That's right. You got them all fired up. Lynn says, Nina, thank you for always bringing a smile to my face when I see you on TYT. Okay. More on Biden losing black voters and who's to blame. Fiddlin' Nero says Biden doesn't get it. These are extraordinary times that call for an extraordinary president. He was merely good and only compared to the low bar of his predecessors. He fell far short of what was needed. We have to speak the truth. Lady Funkin' T, appreciate your contribution. Okay, ma'am? Nina, you are the Elton John of politics with your glasses game. EJ has been on top of his game for over 50 years.
Put him back on.
I see the same in your future, Queen. You are the queen, bold in every way, not just spoken, your style choices. It's just incredible. So thank you for your comments. I see the senator has you fired up. And let's see if we can't keep it going. Because, like I said, she's here to get us all the way together. And that includes people who may not be ready to receive it, right? May not be ready to get their emotional quotient in check. You gotta grow there too, folks, okay? Can't just go and do whatever you want unless, in your mind, you're one of those. I wish a Karen would.
You want to call the police on them for having a barbecue on a Sunday.
I feel free! Back off!
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
Stop. Just stop. Just stop. Just stop. Just stop. Sorry. Okay, well, you just start the neighborhood. Where the are you supposed to go now? Get the out! Don't you dare drive away! Oh, don't mess with her. Don't mess with her. Don't mess with her. You already got your license. He'll be after you.
The store needs to be restocked, and it's a mess, okay? One woman, just one. Incident happened in November of last year. This is in Columbia, Missouri. LaShonda Angeline Johnson, charged with first-degree property damage, misdemeanor stealing, first-degree trespassing, misdemeanor. It's unclear right now whether or not Johnson suffers from mental health issues. An employee at the store allegedly telling police that Johnson entered the store at 7:43 a.m. He told her to leave. Probable cause statement says Johnson was trespassed from the business in June and was told, don't come back here, not to return. The employee then said Johnson then went behind the counter and stole 2 packs of cigarettes before breaking multiple items, according to the statement. ABC 17 with the details. Here's the probable cause statement, what it further states. Well, we'll list it for you. $1,500 in damage to a cash register, $3,000 worth of liquor broken, damage to drink machines valued at $20,000, caused $2,000 of damage to general merchandise. She pulled out the slushy machine, which, I can stay pretty cool. But in the Georgia heat in the summers, don't do that. She did. She did it all. Witnesses followed Johnson to her address while talking to another Columbia police officer on their cell phone. The statement says she was arrested at her residence. Johnson allegedly told police that she didn't want to talk, but made spontaneous utterances, claiming she was at the gas station and was upset, the statement says. She allegedly told police she tore up the store because she thought the employee was taking photos of her and harassing her. Again, that's according to a statement. Another look at the damage. It's we don't even know how it started. Okay, when the video started rolling, we already saw, Senator, that one-man wrecking crew. Okay, I haven't seen that kind of damage since. I grew up in Pennsylvania and traveled through rural parts of the state. When a deer, you catch a buck, they'll sometimes run into a store and tear it up. You would have thought, okay, but this was her, and then she, unbothered, proceeded to her vehicle. What can we even glean from this?
One woman wrecking crew.
Yeah.
Why? Miss Johnson, that's her last name. Why?
Yeah.
And you haven't, listen, folks, you having a bad day, stay home.
That part.
Don't bring your bad day to everybody else. Especially if you're having a bad day to the magnitude that you can't control your actions. If your actions impact somebody else, physically and or their property, then baby, please stay home. And you're right, Sharon, we don't know. I mean, maybe mental health, maybe not. Because, sometimes I'm tired. We always blaming everything on mental health.
Everything. She said he was taking pictures.
Yeah.
And she didn't like that.
Well, then call the police. Obviously, the report says that she was told not to come back in the store. Then, baby boo, why are you back in the store? Don't just go to another store. But really, very unfortunate what Ms. Johnson did to those people's store. And folks, that stuff costs money. Down there, insurance premiums gonna go up and stuff. See, sometimes that kind of property damage, people just shake it off. No, all the time you just can't shake that kind of stuff off because somebody's paying for this.
Yeah.
And nobody has a right to tear up somebody else's property.
No. And that's the part. That's when you get labeled a Karen. And I think you're right about mental health too. Stop just putting everything there, because mental health encompasses a lot of things that a lot of people are navigating. It's like diabetes. So stop with all that. She said he was taking pictures and that made her very angry. But you heard people, and I don't know if our folks at home heard it or you did, Senator, saying, you're ruining our store. Now where are we going to go? And that's real too. That's exactly and sometimes people don't feel like with their insurance increasing and stuff, maybe they just won't come back. They got a high lease anyway, and I'm sick of this. Yeah. So I hope she gets the impulse control, emotional quotient, whatever it is. Or perhaps if there's something else going on, that's addressed too. But the slushy machine, come on, Miss Johnson. I'm gonna leave it alone for now. But she ain't have to do that. I think she got 2 of them too. 2? Come on now. Pretty is as pretty does. I don't know why it's always has to be a debate with women. Okay, can't you be just smart? Can't you just be smart? I'm asking her. Alina Habba says she'd rather be pretty than smart. Now, I'm not going to pick one, okay? But she is. Well, just watch and listen to, and watch her body language too. Go ahead.
Say what you will about Trump, alpha man.
Right.
You would suspect he picks an alpha guy, but he picks a feminine, smart, capable woman. Right. How much of you being an attractive, smart woman do you think played into a role in this?
To him or in the public? Because I can tell you it's been a double-edged sword.
Yeah, both.
It's been something I have had to deal with in the positive and in the negative. I don't think I would be on TV or sitting here if I didn't look the way I look. I think I caught attention. Mm-hmm. I'm very honest about that, and I don't mind. I'm not a feminist, okay? I believe in strong women, but I want my door opened. I am very much an old school, my parents are Middle Eastern, old school woman. I when I'm at home, I cook, I have a husband, I respect, I know how to turn it off. But do I not think that if, I'll tell you something. Somebody said to me, Alina, would you rather be smart or pretty? And I said, oh, easy, pretty. I can fake being smart.
I meet them all the time, Alina.
That's the honest truth. And it's going to make me, I'm sure there'll be some Washington Post article about it tomorrow, Daily Beast, my favorite. But listen, you have to be honest. It doesn't hurt to be good looking in this world, in the PR world, on TV. It doesn't hurt. Mm-hmm. And when you're good looking, that's great, but it can also mean people think you're stupid or people think that President Trump hired me because I was good looking. That is absolutely not the case.
Miss Habba, please. First of all, what is good looking? Who's to say? It's subjective. And I just want to point out before we move on that the man didn't ask her the question. She posed the question. She brought up, would I rather be pretty or smart? She's brought it up and called herself, gorgeous over and over again is the implication. I'm one of a kind beauty if I'm reaching certain, well, I don't know if I want to use the word heights, but anyway, predictably, drew ridicule on social media, Habba did. Legally bland, replied Anthony Lopresti. Sound legal strategy from Trump, replied Patriot Takes. Clay Moser had advice. She should start at least faking she's smart. When they were asking when she was going to start that part. You got fake. She said she could fake smart. It's easier. And so people online are asking, let us know when you start doing that. Chris Herbst paraphrase. Basically, I'm not a good lawyer, but I play one on TV. Okay, raw story collecting some of the comments there. Meanwhile, primary opponent they got to get it together. Here's that primary opponent. Think you know her name. Maybe not enough of you do. Meanwhile, primary opponent of Trump, Nikki Haley, also prompted ridicule online for saying this.
And this, of course, is referring back to New Hampshire. You were asked to explain the cause of the Civil War. You obviously did not mention slavery. And afterwards, you came up, you said that was a mistake. In fact, you said it should have been the first thing that you said. So you did come out and say that. Chris Christie, though, came out and said that you gave that answer not because you're, in his words, dumb or racist, but because you're, quote, unwilling to offend anyone by telling the truth. What do you say to that?
No one's ever said that I am unwilling to offend. I offend plenty of people because I call people out when they do something wrong. What I will tell you is Chris Christie is from New Jersey. I should have said slavery right off the bat. But if you grow up in South Carolina, literally in second and third grade, you learn about slavery. You grow up and you have, I had Black friends growing up. It is a very talked about thing.
I don't know why you're bringing up Black people, Miss Haley. I don't know why I sound like another dog whistle. In the South, this is how we talk. You got to be careful, states' rights. What on earth is wrong with you? What on earth is wrong with you? And I would like for her Black friends, I want to meet them. They don't have to step out publicly, but I really want to meet them. What are you talking about? Why'd you throw that in there? Reaction to Haley's comments include Hobby Brown saying we need an I don't see color. We got bingo. I don't see color. I don't see color. It's so irritating, very triggering. OMG. She actually said the line, Jay-Z says, not Beyonce's, man, this is just Jay-Z. And I agree with it. She delivered the line, Senator, as if she had just rehearsed it with her team of PR people who are also tone deaf. I can tell you they're tone deaf. I can't be on the inside there, but if I were, that's not what she would have said. That's not what she would have said. It's just outrageous. And let's remind folks, if we can, before I turn it over to the senator, one of these people is the former governor of South Carolina who was forced to take down the flag finally after innocent Black people in church were gunned down. Okay. The other is on the legal team of a former president of the United States. Only the best people. Okay. Only the best people have to be on the inside, folks. I want to remind you of that. That's why many don't agree with affirmative action, because you want the best people by your side in these high quality, visible jobs, the best people. I hope we don't have to flash up a satire, Senator. Both of these people, I need them to sit down and do not speak. Don't speak for a good while, okay? Because they're triggering me, a Black woman.
Yep, I'm in the trigger club too, Sharon. I don't know where the hell to start with this. Let's start with Alina. Is that her name?
Habba, Alina Habba.
Habba. I'd rather be. So first of all, beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Thank you.
Some people may, I ain't even gonna go there. Let me just say, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. But let me just quote the great Judge Judy, who, by the way, I'm upset with because she didn't bring my guy back to her new show. But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love a bird.
I'm holding a little grudge on
anyway,
it too.
I'm digressing, Sharon. Judge Judy has a quote: "Beauty fades, but dumb is forever." Okay, that's just it right here, Alina. Beauty fades, but dumb, baby, is forever. So I'm gonna just put that right there. Let our TYT family do with it what they will. I mean, that is beauty fades, but dumb is forever. So that's it. Now to get to Governor Nikki Haley, former Governor Nikki Haley. UN Ambassador Nikki Haley. South Carolina was the first state to cede the Union over slavery. Many slave ports in South Carolina. Like, this woman knows all of this. She just confessed. Seeing it, they didn't go hard enough on the chick. So that just means, for me, Sharon, Black pain does not matter.
Nope.
Because now she got an opportunity to come and dress this thing up after she refused to say that slavery was the cause of the Civil War, and just her cavalier attitude. And then, for the love of God, please stop talking about your Black friends. That's a default for her, for a whole lot of folks. They think that's gonna cover them. You got Black friends.
And how
Obviously,
come
you ain't
the
talking
black
to your
friends
black
are never
friend.
there? That's
Right.
why
I
I'm
mean, they
asking
ain't
to
talking
meet
to him.
them. I could say anything.
She ain't talking to him.
Right. You're not.
But
And
this,
if she is, they're not honest.
and mainstream media is giving this woman a pass on this because it's about black people. Chattel slavery. So the enslavement of first African and then their descendants that became African Americans or Black Americans, however people, because this whole debate online over that, Sharon, whether we calling ourselves Black Americans, African Americans, hell, whatever we calling ourselves these days, our origins is from that continent, forced over here to this country. And that woman could not answer that question at a town hall meeting because she and others are trying to whitewash history. She's acting like this is the difference between what we having for dinner and what we having for breakfast, or you and I debating a color palette. No, there is no the other side, because she went on, we didn't play that part of the clip, to say, well, in South Carolina, like half the people thought this and half the people thought that. Damn what half the people thought. Enslavement of black people, of African and then their descendants, was wrong. Chattel slavery, wrong for generation after generation. And you know what, Sharon? This chick didn't even have the courage to take down the Confederate flag. It was a black woman that took the flag down by the name of Bree Newsom.
Didn't want the photo op.
Right.
Didn't want the photo op to live.
She took the flag down and forced this woman to do.
But look at the credit. Look at the low bar. And that's why I prefaced it with those praying. They were in a prayer circle. They're in church, okay? When the very hungry Dylan Roof, who needed a burger after that.
And got it.
Got it. He got it, okay? So I don't know why you're pointing out the one person who was forced to, she lacks courage. And this is what offends me about her. And I get flack for this, but I'm gonna say it because this is what I believe, Senator. And you can correct me, I'll listen to you. She doesn't care about black people. And I know she doesn't care about black people because what a dog whistle is, okay, states' rights, not saying that the actual truth about slavery, means you're playing to who? And you could care less about who not, right? You could care less about black people.
That's right.
She knew she could get away with that. Didn't even get it proper. But can you imagine if she said this about another marginalized group, another group that's attacked?
Come on.
I don't know if she would have been able to stay in the race.
She wouldn't have been. But again, black pain does not matter. So whether it's coming from somebody like Nikki Haley and before the white liberals on the Democratic side start clutching pearls, don't. Because it's not just the GOP. It's just not people like Nikki Haley. Hell, it's not just even white people. There are a lot of people who are anti-black, who ride the backs of black people on a regular basis, who think that they're better than the black people who fought for the liberty and the type of justice that we see in this country, and that is still yet to be realized. But for this woman to fix her mouth to not utter the words slavery was the cause of the Civil War. Plain and simple, capitalism and greed. And during the American Revolution, when this, at the founding of this country, as they were fighting against King George, Patrick Henry riding on the horse, give me liberty or give me death. They had a chance to start this new nation without the enslavement of Africans and then their descendants. But capitalism wouldn't let them do it, Sharon. They wouldn't do it. So while they're fighting for their liberation, they continue to enslave our ancestors. For many years, over 250 years, and then took another 100 and so years for us to even get the voting right, the Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act. So you're talking about from 1865 to really 1965 in this country.
Yeah,
and we still fighting for it for this day. And it happened to black people on this soil, okay?
This soil.
And we can't even get reparations.
No.
While they sending all kinds of money everywhere else. Go on and give the descendants of enslaved people, give them their reparations, baby. Slave owners got reparations, Sharon. Do people want to talk about that? Do they know that this country, this government paid enslavers reparations for the loss of their property? Hello, somebody. Sharon, don't even get me started on this. I am triggered like a mug.
Me too. And I don't want to hear about when slavery was abolished either, because I'm going to tell you something. What about those prop sharers who were supposed to, they're supposed to share in the profits. There's no profit. How come there's never any profits? Because it was still slavery. That's what it is. And I'm gonna tell you something, we're gonna get out of here so we can both get a temperature. I don't mind being triggered though. I got all day, okay? I could do this all day and I don't really care. You gotta feel it, feel the burn like a certain segment of the population has. But I'm gonna tell you something. She was unbothered by Black trauma, pain, slavery, unbothered. She said, well, what would you like me to say about slavery?
What about
Next
it?
question.
She said, what about slavery?
Right. Next question. You remember that? That was her too. So Nikki, nah, this is indisputable, one and only. I mean, you don't want to miss a word of it. Senator Turner is our special guest co-host today. And she came prepared, okay? She teaches this stuff. Policy, okay? What she says, the people she knows, work to become policy. And I just love her. Much more indisputable when we come right back.
Hey everyone, Matteo Scarapore here, author of Black Buck, which is Shop TYT's first fiction book ever. I'm honored. So, Black Buck is about a young man named Darren who's living in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. He lives with his mom, he has his girlfriend, he has his best friend, he has his neighborhood, and his neighborhood has him. Darren's also working at a Starbucks in Midtown Manhattan. And one day, this man, real suave and good looking, comes in and asks Darren to give him his regular. But for some reason, Darren says no. This man named Rhett Daniels, who's the CEO of a startup called Someone, located on the 36th floor of the same building, is impressed. And he invites Darren upstairs, and then he extends an offer to join his elite sales team. Darren reluctantly joins, and he soon realizes that he's not the only Black salesperson there. He's the only Black person in the entire company. So he goes through hell and back in order to make it to the top. And once there, he has status, money, power, but he says, you know what? I don't like being the token Black guy. So he hatches a plan to help other people of color infiltrate America's tech startup sales teams, redefining what it means to be a minority in the workplace. This book definitely, if you couldn't tell, touches on many things that are relevant to this moment that we're all living in right now. But it's also connected to the many moments in history that have come before today. I hope that you read it. I hope that you enjoy it. And if you want to order a copy, go to shoptyt.com. Thank you, be well, and happy 2021.
Membership makes this possible. I don't say that lightly, guys. That's just a stone cold fact. If we don't have enough members, we don't exist. So join buttons below, tyt.com/join. I hope you get it.
Don't allow the powerful to see you feeling hopeless. Even if you do feel hopeless, wallow in your pity and your misery. And I believe me, I do it all the time in the privacy of your own home, but never let them see that they're getting to you. Never let them think that we're gonna give up or that we feel defeated or deflated. You gotta put your game face on and you gotta keep fighting.
The rest of the news media says you should not fight for positive change. If you do, you're not really a reporter or a journalist, because reporters and journalists don't care what happens. I don't agree. That's not written anywhere. That's not a law. It's just a rule that they invented so that reporters didn't actually challenge the people that are in power. Well, we don't agree with that. We think we should challenge the people in power, that actually makes you a better journalist, not a worse one.
Hi, I'm John, and I'm new to TikTok, but about 3 years ago, I started my daily political news show, The Damage Report, because I noticed this trend where every morning I was waking up to this tsunami of news that was just generally dreadful and horrifying and shocking, and I thought that if I could spend my time helping people to navigate this, serving as a bit of a life raft, pointing out which news is important and why, there are worse ways to spend your day. We're not an average news show, and we don't want our TikTok presence to be average either, so feel free to let us know what you'd like us to do on the platform, and maybe give us a follow at The Damage Report.
All right, Amazon Prime members, here's how you could subscribe for free on Twitch. Start by linking your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, and then click that little subscribe or resubscribe button below the stream on Twitch. Scroll down and select the subscribe free with Prime button, and then you're finished. Close out immediately and share your little subscription alert with the chat. Send a cute message along with it, and bathe in the sweet, twitchy, Bezos-funded love. Hashtag Bezos Bucks.
Sometimes you just don't know the answer.
Giving you that feeling here too, right? Welcome back to Indisputable. I'm Sharon Reed in for Dr. Rashad Ritchie and Senator Nita Turner. She's fired up. She showed up in a very chill, cute little Friday outfit, empowering because she can wear what she want to wear, but I love it. I love the style. Then she started to preach, and it's okay, Senator. We needed it. I actually needed church, okay, on this day. Some of the viewer comments now. CYT member Reese, thank you very much for your contribution. Sharon, can you wish me happy birthday? Happy birthday, Reese. Salute you, appreciate you watching and being part of this community. Okay, and I know the senator wishes you one too, right? I know she does. Kiana says, Sharon, your reactions are the best of the best. The looks, I can't control it. I understand it's a problem. And I watch. So try to get better by watching, I end up getting fired up again, and I am going to work on it. I have the same face expressions on my face, then the camera shows yours. It's hilarious. It's as if we're facial twins because of nonsense. It's nonsense, and it triggers me. It's tics, if you want to call it. But I am going to try to do a little bit better. About that Karen, over 9,000, the poorly paid and mistreated workers probably had to clean up everything while still serving people walking in. I believe that's exactly why they were so incensed. They knew they were going to have to clean it up. Okay, not a professional company was going to be hired. They were going to have to do all of it. Alina Habba, I Am Sock says, did Nikki Haley rename all of her black friends like she did her husband? Oh, that's a good question. YouTube now. Slim Slamma, thank you for your contribution, Jack. Jack, we thank you for yours as well. Slim Slamma says Biden has done more for China than Black Americans. What do you say? These are your comments, okay? I respect them. One more for you. Librio, thank you for your membership. We appreciate you being part of the community. This Karen shirt reading Saint is the biggest hypocrisy of the New Year's, doing the devil's work that day. And I don't know what moves her, what kind of spirit moves her normally, but this was the devil's work and had the nerve to roll up in there. She knew she was going to do that on this day, or perhaps had the potential, but that's how she was rolling. That's how she was rolling. We're going to move on now. A heartbreaker. That's not even a big enough word because she should be here. Another one. This didn't have to happen. I don't want any more slow singing and flower bringing. I want you to solve the problem. 1-year-old of an unhoused mother found dead on a bus bench. This is in America, or was this somewhere else? Let's go on. 26-year-old Mantha Van Cleve, mother who became part of Los Angeles's unsheltered population, is mourning the loss of her 1-year-old daughter, Yara Rutherford, who passed away last month while the family of 3 was living under an overpass near Los Angeles International Airport. Van Cleve telling reporters the infant would still be alive if the city had more places for her and her 2 small children to sleep at night. Van Cleve and her children had been on the streets of Westchester for 8 months, new to the city, fleeing from a bad relationship. That's commonplace. Van Cleve and her children first lived in their car. The mother cared for the little girl and her 2-year-old brother, Judah, by driving the Uber when she could afford to rent a room in a hotel. They would have housing, but only on those times where she could afford that. Not every day. This mother could not do it. Over the past month, the family had transitioned to camping out at LAX and also spent time at a bus stop near the airport, the location where Yara was found. Baby's family says the baby was just coming into her own personality, growing fast. She'd stand up in the bed. She'd tap me and she'd go, "Hi," every morning at 4 a.m. I don't have anybody to wake me up now, Van Cleve said, according to NBC Los Angeles. Mom added that the little one was teething the night before. This bereaved mother said she just went to sleep and didn't wake back up. Imagine the suffering. Imagine what this child was going through. And her mother. Los Angeles Fire Department spokesperson Brian Humphrey reported receiving the call responding at 9:37 a.m. on December 20th to the area near Sepulveda and Century Boulevards. Caller described trying to perform CPR on young Yara until the LAFD arrived and took over. However, upon their arrival, firefighters pronounced the child deceased. KTLA reports an LAPD detective alleged the baby died due to cardiac arrest. However, Yara's cause of death is still being investigated with the LA County Medical Examiner looking into the official cause of death. Yara's mother says the baby may have died from the cold due to their inability to secure shelter or an unknown medical condition. It's possible that her father may have had some type of heart condition, and I wasn't told about it. Very possible that she did freeze to death. It's possible because she was fine the night before. She was fussy, but she had 6 teeth coming in as well. How does a teething baby go to sleep and just not wake up? Van Cleve said to local station Fox 11. Yeah, I'm triggered again. The mom said she is trained as a pharmacy technician and had hoped to continue in that field in Los Angeles, but because she had no stable housing, you know how many people need pharmacy technicians? Do you know how crucial that position is? Not enough of them. Nothing could be figured out. She had no stable housing, so she could not secure employment. I used to be a pharmacy tech. I have a degree. I've never been on drugs. I take being a mother very seriously, and I know there are things being said about me that are not true. I made sure her kids, ate 3 times a day. Some days I didn't eat. I made sure they ate and they were clean. Van Cleve said that she had tried to be admitted to a program or a shelter, but was denied by several of the city's homeless service programs. Housing and stuff fell through because the county building actually promised housing and whatnot because they made it seem like people with children are a priority. But we ended up sleeping in my car when I had my car, Van Cleve said to Fox 11, adding, when my car died, that's when everything went downhill. We ended up outside sleeping at LAX for a good 2 weeks. During all that rain, we were outside. Mayor Karen Bass, who governs the second largest unhoused population in the country, released a statement December 27th. After we became aware of this family situation, the mayor's office coordinated with PATH, who is working with LAHSA to extend the housing options for this family. And we will now work to identify a longer-term solution, including offering resources for them to reunite with family on the East Coast. She also cited the incident tragic, called the incident tragic, and said this incident is exactly why we need to get people off the street immediately, especially those with children. That's why you need to, Bass won her election based on her promise to house about a third of the city's over 75,000 homeless people by the end of 2023, population that has increased by 9% since 2021. However, she was not successful. Van Cleve was providing lodging in a motel. She was given that by PATH after the incident after her 1-year-old died, but was scheduled to check out on December 28th. She stayed in the room with her surviving toddler, her godmother, Stella Bethel's son. Van Cleve said before the tragedy, she called 211. That's a hotline that works to connect people in LA County with emergency shelters, but she couldn't get through. 3 days before my baby passed away, I remember calling 211 LA Family Housing along with homeless shelters, Volunteers of America, PATH. And they would all say, you're on the wait list, or we just got started on these applications. And they, a different family, applied in 2017. And you applied this year. So it's going to be like a 10-year wait. Can you not even pick up the phone, please? I don't want you to pick up the phone if that's what you're going to tell people. Van Cleve said this: I have a call log to this day of calling around. Nobody had answers for me or anywhere for us to go. The mom said, rightfully believing she was not the only one. The city controller said their audit revealed that during the previous winter, the 211 action number for unhoused people faced an overwhelming influx of over 160,000 calls for shelter. Only half of that number was being answered or even returned by the agency. This incident should be a wake-up call for our community that we need crisis and long-term housing options for our vulnerable populations, such as families with children, seniors, individuals with disabilities, and other at-risk populations, 211 said. Senator, I like Karen Bass, and I'm going to try not to do this. You did don't even lead with this in the statement that you got them a place to stay after the 1-year-old. You should have had the same urgency while the baby was still alive. And I don't know if the mother brought up a potential long-term injury or cardiac arrest or a pre-existing condition. But I've seen this before, and I want the LA medical examiner on notice here, because it's all one entity and it would serve the city's interest for this to be declared something other than what it seems to be. Do you understand where I'm going with this? Okay. George Floyd died of acute something. No, he died because you had your knee on his neck. I'm disgusted by this. If you know last year you had 160,000 calls and half, which means more than that, didn't get returned or even answered. You served, I didn't. I'm going to give you the floor because I at least need to know that you're running around frantic here, and I don't see it. I see you running around doing PR after the fact. Little girl should be here.
That's it, Sharon. I mean, it's a domino effect here, and it was too little, too late. And then even in the reporting, we see that the housing that they did get her, the temporary shelter that they did get her after her daughter died, was very limited itself. Resources have to be deployed. There are over 500,000, like 500,000 of people unhoused in this country. It is a crisis. This is when you need state and federal government working to help mayors like Karen Bass. Now, this has been a crisis before she got there. She just got there. It was a crisis before she got there. So I want to cut her a little slack on that. But if this is your number one issue, act like it's your number one issue. I'll be on people's desks, turning over tables on the state house, turning over tables in DC. You want to talk about the federal government has the biggest stick, Sharon. And so they should be focused on this. We have a housing, an unhoused crisis in America that is very much linked to the economy, very much linked to the fact that the working poor in this country cannot afford housing anymore, very much linked to the fact that we are allowing corporations to just take over and gobble up everything. And so charity starts at home and spreads abroad and not the other way around. So if we got all this money for the wars, to quote the urban poet Tupac, got money for wars, but you can't feed the poor. Got money for wars, but you can't house the poor. Got money for wars, but you allow a 1-year-old baby and her family to die because people have a callous indifference. And I felt the mama when she said people blaming me. This ain't no time to be pointing fingers. Obviously, the system is not working and you got people who need help. And this baby and her family is just one of millions of people who are either, unhoused, underhoused, looking for shelter on a regular basis. And dare I not bring in our veterans on this. Yeah. And not that their lives are more important in terms of having housing, but we just put that extra point out there that if this country is that callous to allow unhoused veterans, then what you think about everybody else? Yeah. Too little, too late, and the federal government needs to step up.
I'm glad you said that. And that's why I said it. You served, I didn't. That's what I should have said. Federal government, you have resources, okay? And this whole thing, I just want to say, I want to wear a t-shirt sometimes that says, "You're so ignorant." She can't get employment, never been on drugs, although, look, that's an illness, okay? And has a degree. They need pharmacy techs, but we can't hire you. We got to stick with our policies. We can't hire you because you're so ignorant. I could solve that problem today. Couldn't you solve? This is so easy. And you mentioned the money and the wars, and you're right. And I was going to lead with this, and I forgot to ask you, how much money are they going to spend on this presidential election, Tanner? Do you know? Hello. How much money is available?
It'll be billions. I mean, between the outside money groups that are going to come in, the money that each candidate will fundraise, it will be billions of dollars, just like it is every single time.
Can't the baby be alive?
Can't the baby be alive?
Can you spare a few coins for the baby?
Just a callous indifference.
It's a callous indifference. It's that part. Sometimes things happen sometimes, but this didn't have to happen. How can we even get to the things happen sometimes? Yeah. I'm just disgusted.
And why does she have to qualify herself, Sharon? I know we got to go on, but
that part
that hurt my heart. Like she got to qualify herself to say, "I haven't been on drugs." Look, sometimes the bottom falls out for people, and then it becomes a domino, and then they can't get out. It's a spiraling impact. But she has to qualify herself just to prove that her and her family is worthy of housing. This is BS.
Yeah, wonder what her transcript looked like. She didn't have a daddy who gave her $1 million, who sent her off to some military school. We're going to move on, but we're not going to move on, if you know what I mean. This time, a new mom is killed by a stray bullet on her first night out. First night. Teen mom, Shania Green, killed by a stray bullet at a Georgia house party just a month after her 18th birthday on her first night out since giving birth. Green was found dead in the back patio of a house in Grayson after police cleared the party while investigating reports of a shooting at 1 a.m. Friday. This is according to WANF, the date, December 29, 2023. She had a bullet wound in the back of the head. Gwinnett County Police said no suspects have been identified and arrested yet in connection with the fatal shooting, officials and Green's family said. New York Post with the details. Shania just turned 18 and had been devoted to lovingly taking care of her 7-month-old son. Her aunt Sadie Long wrote in an online fundraiser, as any new mother, Shania was excited to finally get to go out and hang out for a little. She said of the teen mom's first night out. Long continued, quote, while enjoying a night out at a house party, multiple shots were fired from outside of the house, hitting Shania from inside of the house and taking her life. This is per ANF in Atlanta. Neighbors heard gunfire erupt around 1 a.m. One neighbor provided the news outlet with cell phone video showing dozens of young people running out of the house. They said, quote, when I looked out the window, I saw a bunch of kids trying to get into their cars and leave the subdivision. The homeowner's son hosted the party while the parent was out of town, according to a relative of that homeowner. Long wrote on GoFundMe, quote, Shania was a wonderful daughter, mother, sister, granddaughter, and niece who touched the lives of everyone around her. She was known for her beautiful, infectious smile and her laughter. Look at the smile. Oh, gosh. Long added she was just figuring out who she was as a young lady and a new mother, navigating life with grace, compassion, kindness. Her glowing personality and respectful manner has left so many people hurting and mourning for such an amazing soul. As of this morning, the GoFundMe raised over $12,000 for the family's funeral expenses. Wow. So a child without their mother, Senator, and I just want to caution people that I am, okay now, I feel like, and maybe it's just, I don't usually have voices running, but there's a narrative in my head, a protective, defensive one that's saying, don't you dare. What was she doing now? She just had a baby. You better not. I just told you who she was from people who knew her. Great mother, loving, kind, charming, graceful, respectful. She had a right to go and have some me time. Her child was well cared for. I didn't read anything about the child not being well cared for. Her family loved her. Senator.
So glad you put that out there, Sharon. So just tragic in every single way. A young 18-year-old woman is now dead and her baby won't have her. And whoever shot her, that's the person at fault. Not her going out to have fun. Whoever shot her is at fault. And I hope they catch this person.
I do too. And I'm praying for her family, and we'll check in and keep it updated when there's a development, and hopefully that GoFundMe, I hope it grows.
I do too. I mean, I think Rittenhouse, that dude, you know, they raise more money. See, they raise money for people like that. And this family sitting up here barely got $12,000. I mean, make this make sense for me, Sharon. I wasn't going to go there, but I just had to. That narrative was in my head just now when you said the amount. I mean, not that people don't owe. I mean, they don't owe the family anything in terms people are giving out of the goodness of their heart. But I was just juxtapositioning that 12,000 that you just mentioned to the hundreds of thousands that was raised for that dude.
I think America owes the family the money because had guns. Well, let me just tell you something. If you can just roll, I didn't hear about any beef. You just want to fire them off. Apparently, too much excess. Ultra wealthy, sitting on, and this speaks to the heart of the matter, 8.5 trillion in untaxed profits. The ultra wealthy. This is a heck of an exclusive club. And there you see them. HuffPost with the details. Americans worth more than 100 million sat on a whopping 8.5 trillion in untaxed profits in 2022. A report released Wednesday found money that may never be taxed unless Congress closes a loophole shielding the investments of the ultra rich. Are you betting on Congress to close the loophole? I don't gamble, but that's a bet that I'll say they're not going to do it. But these centimillionaires, billionaires, made up just 0.05% of all American households in 2022, according to Federal Reserve data analyzed by the progressive nonprofit Americans for Tax Fairness. But they held 1/6 of so-called unrealized capital gains in the country. HuffPost, thank you. Unrealized gains are the primary source of income for many elite families. Under current law, growth in the value of assets like stocks, bonds, investments, real estate, or businesses is not taxable until they are realized or sold. Here's the thing, they never get sold. That's the racket, right? Loophole, it's a racket. The ultra wealthy can nonetheless live off these gains by taking out low interest loans. I'm trying to tell you, against their exorbitant wealth. And when their fortunes become inheritances, the gains are no longer taxable. We got you. David Cass, the executive director of Americans for Tax Fairness, stated, quote, "The super rich truly live in a strange and privileged world. While most households depend on paychecks, income that is taxed all year, every year." Cass noted these untaxed gains make up the largest single source of income for the ultra wealthy. The scandal of tax-free billionaires, Cass added, also results in billions of dollars less in tax revenue that could fund health care, housing, and other public programs. Led by President Joe Biden, left to right, let's see it. Senator Ron Wyden, Democrat, Morgan. Representative Steve Cohen, Democrat, Tennessee. Don Bayer, Democrat, Virginia, have introduced a billionaire's income tax in both chambers of Congress. The tax would apply only to unrealized gains held by ultra-wealthy households, could generate an estimated $500 billion in new revenue. over a decade. Good luck, gentlemen. You'll need it. Biden has also promised ending the loophole known as the stepped-up basis that erases capital gains for tax purposes when wealthy individuals pass on their fortunes as inheritance. Both plans have virtually, well, let's see how many are supporting it. Both plans, it says here, have virtually no support among Republicans. Without congressional action, the untouchable wealth of the super rich is likely to only grow. Since 1989, when the Federal Reserve began collecting this data, households worth more than $100 million have nearly tripled their share of the country's unrealized gains. The disparity in how the incomes of the super rich are taxed also deepens racial divides. Of the $8.5 trillion in untaxed wealth belonging to centimillionaires or billionaires, $7.6 trillion, about 90%, is held by, let's get that correctly, is held by white households. That figure is 6 times the total wealth of all Black households in the country. It's 5 times the total wealth of all Hispanic households. You want to know why you don't have anything? I just read it to you. I just gave you the details. Senator Turner?
The white collar hustle in this country, Sharon Reed, is real. The white collar hustle. They beyond white collar, the platinum collar hustle, the titanium collar hustle, the billionaire hustle in this country is real. And I want our viewers, Sharon Reed, to understand this. If they don't take nothing else away, this is a public policy decision. And you know what? The president proposing, instead of using the soapbox that he has as the president of the United States of America to wield this stuff, to push on this stuff, to make it change, I ain't moved by it. In the first 2 years of his presidency, he controlled both chambers of Congress. You know, all they gonna do is propose. They ain't gonna make none of this pop off. Why? Because this same billionaire lobby have bought politicians. America, it is legal to bribe politicians in the United States of America. The loophole is a policy choice, ladies and gentlemen, family and friends. It is a policy choice. Poverty is a policy choice, and allowing the ultra wealthy who will not even be able to spend that money in 25,000 lifetimes is a policy choice. And so we can make different choices. Point blank. Period, exclamation point, message in a bottle, underline it, bold it. It is a policy choice. And these politicians talk. Now, kudos to the electeds who decided to introduce some legislation. But that's all that's gonna happen because people like President Joe Biden and others, instead of traveling, got Vice President traveling the country trying to corral Black people to vote for an administration that ain't done really nothing for them. How about we get up here and corral people and get them all riled up, working class people of all backgrounds about these billionaires in this country? How about that?
How about that?
Now run tell that.
How'd she do it?
Run tell it.
Let me tell you something. And I may be too cynical, Senator, and you correct me because again, you know this thing inside out, but I feel like President Biden, again, this is just me, a lay person saying what I feel. Rang on whatever that phone is that gets through to people on the first try. And on the other line, it was probably a party line. You had Wyden, Cohen, and Beyer. He said, I need something here. I need an issue. You know it's a no prayer. And I'm not saying you don't introduce stuff that has no prayer. Sometimes you do because it's the right thing to do.
That's right.
But the timing, what are you doing here so that I can go out and we're election year and I'm on the campaign trail and I'm saying, you get a car and I'm going to fight for every single American. I don't care if you're Black, white, gay, straight. That's just what I came up with in my head. Maybe I'm just a creative person and it's my own little, I will get these voices under control. But button it up for me, Senator, because I'm all over the place. I'm just so sick of it.
Sharon. You know what it is. You know it. They playing in our face.
Playing in our face. I love it. I don't allow people to do that to me, to be honest with you. I dip. That's when I dip. I don't got time for this. Okay? Senator, always a pleasure. Boy, you got me thinking. And I can't wait till I see you again. I'm not like a stalker.
Thinking. We are the dynamic duo.
We really are.
Dynamic duo. They need to go on and we need a show together.
I feel it's possible when I see you. We do. I feel it's possible when I see you and I spend time with you. Remind people about what you're up to because you're going to stay very visible.
Well, I'm trying. We Are Somebody is an organization that I started. Please go to wearesomebody.org. It is a capacity building organization for working class people, baby. We're going to continue to shake this thing up. And when I say working class, I mean unionized and non-unionized workers. As I often say, if you ain't got a sugar daddy, a sugar mama, a sugar somebody, you are among the working class. And we have got to unite and keep the momentum going to bring up the wages of working class people in this country and to push policymakers to do a new and a different thing. So join us. Wearesomebody.org.
And I agree with the loyal TYT member who said, the skin is flawless. I think truth looks good. I trust you. And I think truth looks good, Senator. You keep telling the truth. It's just, probably don't even put products on there.
It looks good on you too. And I agree with that, with the viewer who said they love your facial expressions. Even when I'm not on with you and I watch you, I'm like her. I am on the floor.
Oh my goodness. I hope
you
there's
just
not
smooth.
a TikTok.
You
Well,
smooth
it's
as
just me.
silk.
It's just who I am. And so I shouldn't work on changing it because I was going to really try to work on it. But
No,
I just
don't
get
change.
so.
That's why we love you.
I love you back. This is Indisputable. Thank you, Senator Turner. Dr. Rashad Ritchie, thank you so much for allowing me to sit in the chair. And I hope you'll stay with us, our loyal TYT members. Thank you so much. Indisputable. Catch you the next time.